Well, we just recorded for like an hour and didn't record a single word.
It wasn't. It was maybe like 30 minutes. It's alright.
Listen, we had Steven's eating half of a loaf of pumpernickel, a quarter thing of cream cheese,
package.
10 carrots, almost an entire pack of
Sardines.
Brezola. Oh, we got an injury.
Oh no.
Thank God we're on camera for
I'm
this.
telling you, it's his coal lungs.
It's his coal miner lungs. Joe Baez is hurt.
I just found out that this guy's a coal miner. Believe it or not. There's no way you can sustain that lifestyle and do jiu-jitsu.
That's dislocate.
It looks like his arm's just fucked though. That's probably not from coal mining, now that I think about it.
I'm not sure what happened here.
No. Maybe we should rewind.
Yeah, we can rewind.
We won't be live anymore, but we'll have a rewind.
Rewind, we can always
We're
go back.
watching the Combat Jiu Jitsu something or another, EBI. And for the record, I've also had 2 pickle spears and an apple and
Oh,
some chips.
son of a bee. It looks like it's the arm that he's laying on. Oh, I see what's going to happen.
Does he get
I think he's going to go for an American. Oh, nope. Kimura. It's the Kimura. Oh, he tapped. Oh, it was just the too much.
That was weird.
Flexi the mus, and he gets poppy.
That was weird. Oh,
That's
that
not
makes me
good.
nervous.
That's not good.
Oh,
We'll go
Jesus.
live. We'll go back to live.
That's terrible.
So what me and Steven were talking about was dreams.
Yeah, when we're digging the beginning of the interpretation of dreams.
By Mr. Sigmund Freud, that mother rapist or whatever he was.
That motherfucker.
That motherfucker. What I'm most interested in right now is how your organs, the actions inside of your body's organs during sleep can be manipulative to your dream state, your sleeping dream state. What I guess the idea is that while you're awake, the stimulus from the outside world is too much for your body to handle, which is, they also touch on why when you have colon problems or you have pancreatitis or whatever.
Your dreams reflect that.
The reason the pain is so extreme is because otherwise you wouldn't be distracted enough by it and you'd die.
Oh,
Your
so
body,
you need to deal with it?
You need to, you can't be distracted by everything else. Your body is telling you, like,
You gotta deal with this cancer, bro.
you might be seeing some crazy shit out there, but inside we're fucked.
Yeah.
You gotta go tell somebody.
Very interesting.
Gotta go eat some fruit.
Yeah, so while I was saying, kind of talking about organs, this guy Turgenev, who's a 19th century Russian author like Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, was very interested in like natural science. So the main character Bazarov of this book is training to be a doctor, and his dad was a military doctor and still practices medicine in the countryside. But a lot of the kind of emotional responses in the book are incorporated into like someone's heart will literally skip a beat, or things like this that aren't necessarily in. It's not like Tolstoy and Dostoevsky don't do that, but I think the way Turgenev does it is very succinct.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a lot of the emotional responses are acted out and nothing really else. Like people just, especially the way like people's faces react or something. There's
There's no hiding it, you mean?
No, like he's using people's bodies as the first display of emotion. It's like he shows it through their physiology really well. How people will be, how people literally embody their emotions. So, I mean, we could read, maybe in a bit we'll read some. But he does that very, very well, I think. I've really enjoyed reading his book a lot. It's been very good. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's been very good.
What's the book called?
It's called Fathers and Sons.
Recommendation of Jordan Peterson?
No. I just kind of had it on my bookshelf. I would be curious if Peterson's read him. I really think he's on the same level as Tolstoy and Dostoevsky. It's a much shorter book than what those guys wrote, but there's a lot in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Dostoevsky wrote long shit, but he also wrote
short shit. Yeah.
Did Turgenev only write short stories?
No. So the first thing I ever read of his was a short story, though, called Bezheen Meadow, which is just great. But I think Turgenev had like it seems to me, reading his shit, of the three, Turgenev had like the most love for nature, if that makes sense. Like, he loved the trees and the birds and the clouds, and could write about that at a level I'm not sure if Dostoevsky and Tolstoy could.
Yeah.
He also, like...
I wonder what Nietzsche's thoughts. I haven't read enough Nietzsche, but...
About nature?
About nature.
He uses that symbology a lot.
Zarathustra takes place in the woods.
Right, and he comes down from a mountain and all that.
Yeah.
I would say quite a bit. He was obviously lost in his thoughts quite a bit, too.
Oh, another thing that I mentioned while we were unmiked was about an old teammate of ours who basically expressed to me that he has the inability to dream, and he asked me to teach him how.
What a shame thing to ask for.
What a shame to live like that.
What is this?
I think it's a Datsusara ad.
Oh, God. Daniele Bolelli.
Daniele Bolelli. Nope, it's
Duncan
Duncan Trussell.
So it's hard.
Oh,
when it's a
Jesus.
glorious fight, and your mind is going to trick you into all these reasons to not fight. But if you realize
Work
this
is hard.
a sacred fight, and that dying in a sacred battle or failing in a sacred battle is actually victory, whereas winning a battle not
Duncan
based
Trussell.
on good intention is always losing. That means that, yeah, great, you got the promotion at a job you hate. So that's a victory that isn't a real victory at all, is it? That's actually yet another loss and a never-ending battle that will keep going on until you take up your sacred bow and rise to the fight. Fight it like you would fight the greatest battle of your life, because it is. What are the things right now that you could be doing?
Do jiu-jitsu. Do some yoga. Shoot a bow.
And start doing them.
Read a book.
If you do those things, you might be surprised how
They just show
your
us someone with a
life
crossbow.
changes. This is the holy war for
They're showing yurts. They're showing people living in yurts.
Wow. I like Duncan Trussell.
Datsusara and Duncan Trussell are all good things.
That was inspirational.
It's Sakuraba!
Made me want to buy a Datsusara bag, too.
Who likes quintet? Because I think that's going to be the new style of jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly. Adds
Adds
dramatic.
to the team.
Krieg Jones.
I love Krieg.
I love Craig Jones. He's so funny. Yeah, I give him a lot of credit for going and training with Danaher, too. That's interesting.
Well, I think Craig Jones fucking loves the best jiu-jitsu in the world.
Yeah.
Uriah Faber is doing a tournament of some sort, and he invited Craig Jones or Gordon Ryan.
Very nice. I think I just saw some Hicks and Gracie on the beach.
Yeah, that was Hicks doing some gymnastique naturelle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Travis Newaz. Hey, it's Jeff Glover. It's a star-studded affair at the 540 studio.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that dude with the dreads is good in the gi.
Yeah, I've seen him roll with Keenan, I think. I forget his name.
Yeah. Did you see Tony competed today?
Who?
Tony Arrow. You got second in
I
the
didn't
gi.
see how he did.
He got second in the gi and he didn't place in no gi.
At Grappling Industries.
Yeah. Homie won.
What do you do? Intermediate?
Blue belt.
Okay.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
intermediate no gi.
How'd Greg do?
Greg won his division and got third in absolute.
Very good. That's good for his confidence.
Oh, Tony also told me he's just on the meat. He's just on that meat diet. Taken after our friend Michaela Peterson.
Yeah. Fuck that. If you can't tell.
Yeah, that's not enough for me. I get bored.
I don't think it's a good idea.
No.
I think it's like saying you should only read one kind of book.
Only read spy novels.
Maybe like a Jordan Peterson said, only read neuroscience books. It's like, I like all these other kind of books.
And yeah, I'm not fucking dying of a neuroplasticity disorder or some shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the bread thing's really, like, I'm really fascinated by the whole, like, gluten intolerance, people not liking bread shit. Well,
it is the most recent adaptation to our food.
To me,
vegans love bread.
Dude, okay, you gotta come see this place, the lunchroom, where I work. It's literally all vegan food, but they make shit to look like it's like all...
So weird.
It's like all... So it's like mac and cheese, hot
tofu.
Dogs, nachos, like... It's literally like imitation fake meat meals. It's so fucking strange. Just cook me like some fucking vegetables if you're in like. Yeah. It's so fucked.
Don't shape your.
It's so weird. It's
It's
so
like
weird.
the equivalent of.
They have like chili. They literally have like chili hot dogs.
It's like the equivalent of doing your bushes up in the shapes of dolphins and be like, hey, I have an aquarium. Look at my aquarium. It's right there. There's a dolphin. There's a fish.
I'm telling you, they have like Sakor.
Matt Sakor was. I feel good for him because he was in one of the first UBIs and maybe went against Gordon Ryan or Gary Chone. But he's a solid black belt here.
I realize I haven't been hungry. Haven't smoked.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
I don't even have the munchies right now, people.
Yeah. And I ate before I came and
That's
had plenty
actually
of beer.
not true. I smoked that. I smoked it.
Next time we have a podcast, I want to make a dish that I really enjoy.
What? It's a surprise.
Yeah, I can tell you. It's you take cream cheese. I'm sure you've had it before. You put it on a plate.
Mm-hmm.
Cocktail sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Crab.
Mm-hmm.
And then you dip Ritz crackers in it, or whatever type of cracker you like. But
Mm.
I like those salty.
Talking about crab, dude.
Oh man, it's good.
I was looking.
I think they
at
call
the
it
fish market today.
They call it jockey dip. No, that's.
I will say that sounds fucking great.
It's the best. It was like mind blowing when my uncle brought it the first time.
Oh, if we had good bread to dip through that. What do you dip through it? Crackers?
You just take one of these. Oops. You undo the entire thing. Slap it on.
Yeah, but what do you use
spread
to
it
do
out.
that?
Crackers. Crackers or bread.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
Anything you want.
Your goddamn finger. That's what I do.
More than this.
It's a beautiful
I was thinking
match,
about crab today.
Oh! Everyone's trying to hit the Gary Tonin butterfly sweep head and arm guillotine. Oh. John Blank looks like he got hit in the face.
I was thinking about crab today. In the freezer at the fish market, they have these fucking just massive king crab legs, Alaskan king crab legs.
Oh.
$50 a pound.
Oh, no, yeah, we're using imitation crab for this dip, son.
Well, and then they had like 10 of crab meat, like jumbo lump crab meat, $39 a pound.
God damn, dude.
I
cannot afford to live a lobster crab life. Oh, that's a nice attempt. That's a nice whizzer. Back and forth. John Blank is a beautiful jiu-jitsu player. Oh, he's gonna get that guillotine. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, it's under his chin.
Yeah. That was amazing. Really nice. John Blank is a savage, dude.
Yeah, he's hyped up.
John Blank is a savage, dude.
That was a really good choke. He switched it a bunch of times.
That was a beautiful.
Alright, so they're standing. The other guy, alright, they're standing, they broke.
Matt Secor has a collar tie. John Blank has outside control, but his hand's under the chin. They have.
I think he goes overhook.
He's gonna get an overhook.
I think he might keep this overhook once he gets it through the
So Secor tries to get the choke.
His head.
The scramble ensues. John Blank gets out, and they reset.
Okay.
This isn't over yet. And not
Battle
that
of
Laurent is
the head
happy
and
about
arm
this.
control.
So basically what happens is John Thor tries to hit a hip throw, goes back, tries to get the head and arm, and then immediately switches back to the hip throw and gets him down, and then wraps up a guillotine and mounts him.
Somewhere other than 10 Planet Freaks. The question is, will it be a 10
Let's see this.
representative?
So John Blank resets, gets back to that same collar tie position.
Matt Secor, BJJ.
He throws the leg
here's
inside,
the-
then goes back, and then again. Beautiful, and then locks it in, head and arm. Beautiful step over, Reese secures the grip, and it's over. That took 4 seconds once it was locked in. Yeah,
I really like that.
I like that kid.
I like that.
It looks like he's
position,
hurting.
too.
It looks like his foot's cramped up.
Yeah, he's like, whoa.
Yeah, he's in pain.
You're right. He's like hobbling around.
Yeah,
and
look at his
shakes
foot.
his head.
Or no, maybe he's just dancing. I think
No,
he's hype.
he is hurt. His foot. He's.
He's hype and hurt.
Oh no, he's just hopping around. What? He's like shaking. He literally can't believe it.
He
I
can't.
don't think. It's like. He wants them to bring out the next victim.
Yeah, they're like, who's next?
He's like, whoa. He literally, before going to hug this guy, he shook his head. Mm.
Good for John Blank. Sorry for Matt Secor.
That was just vicious.
That was a beautiful choke.
Once he
That was
got
really
a bite
good.
on that neck, man.
I would like to
Matt
see
had a little
him
bite on
and,
the neck, wasn't able to do anything with it. Once
throwing the
thrown down,
Danaher
he got that
guys.
high
Oh yeah,
elbow.
he's beaten Oliver Taza.
Right, yeah. I should show me that. The thing about that is he's way bigger than Taza. He's got it going on.
Thicker than
Yeah.
Oh, that is a deep fucking guillotine.
Strangles Matt. Look at that.
He just strangles
No,
Matt.
no, he had
That's
arm
some
out.
good,
Started arm out, he got
pronouncing.
that
No, it's not
elbow.
Armin, idiot.
Yeah, raw on the neck wizard. Right. Started arm
What a
in.
beautiful fucking choke.
He slams the arm out.
That's really solid.
Very slick. How he slides that hand out. Gets all neck on that.
Elbow high.
Yeah.
Wow.
Matt's trying to get up. He tried to hit out and over, but Thor's right leg was able to keep him in place long enough to finish
Wow.
that squeeze. Great job. Very technical on both
Ladies and
parts.
gentlemen, the middleweight king has arrived. John Thor Blank.
Oh wow. Who is this guy giving this interview?
That's TJ DeSantis.
Middleweight championship in the
Does he train?
What was
No.
your mindset going through this tournament? Because you were in a league of your own.
Nope. He's a good guy though.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's funny looking fellow.
They literally are the worst
For good reason.
sound technicians of all time at EBI.
Really?
They're terrible.
Win this
Yeah,
They,
I guess.
They're 17 events in, and every single time they're not able to get an interview off.
Without the
mic
music
going
playing
up.
in the background.
Music's playing louder than him. Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah.
John Blank, good man. Good for you. I'll see you soon.
Alright. I want to maybe share with you some of the Turgenev, because it's been I had some different sections picked out that I thought I could read. Oh,
TJ DeSantis is the guy who started doing all the commentary for Invicta.
oh really?
Yeah. He said that he said earlier that his first event was in 2004. His first announcing.
Hey man, that was smart of him to get on that train way back when. A lot more job opportunities in the world of MMA commentary than there was 14 years ago now.
Yep. a passion. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
You don't just watch people fight for nothing.
No.
So we would be watching Gegard Mousasi versus Rory McDonald,
I'm really that.
but we're not going
That's
to buy
such a
that
bad
bullshit.
idea.
We would have easily
For
watched it on
Bellator to
Spike.
do that. Yeah,
We would have gladly done that.
that was a bad idea for Bellator. I feel like.
But goddamn, Gegard Mousasi is fucking good. His record is 44-6.
That's a crazy record.
And
Can you imagine doing 50 MMA
He's
fights?
beaten Chris Weidman, Uriah Hall, Vitor Belfort, Dan Henderson, Mark Munoz, Ilir Latifi,
He's had some tough losses too.
Sokaju.
Did he lose? He beat Jacare, right?
Beat Jacare and then lost to Jacare.
No. When did you lose to him?
2014.
When he beat him?
2010 maybe? 2008.
Oh yeah.
Upkick.
Jesus.
That was one of the coolest knockouts ever.
I didn't watch that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
This is one of the first fights that I remember being amazed with and wanting to learn jiu-jitsu because of.
Is this in Pride?
Yeah, no, it's in Dream.
Oh.
He wins the Dream title with this kick, I think. Boom, pow! And then
Oh
look,
my God.
out cold.
Gegard's a strange cat too. I feel.
Yeah,
like.
he's scary.
Oh. Jesus.
One of the best up kicks of all time.
That'd be legal today too. His knee still isn't on the ground yet. Do you want to try this other bread for shits and giggles, or should we leave it?
Are they the
whole?
same?
Oh no, this is like some wheat.
That's like
type thing.
seasoned way differently.
Also has sunflower seeds on it. Yeah, those are totally different things. That has like those are caraway seeds.
Mm.
That's a rye type bread. This is just some wheat bread. Oh shit, I forgot about these.
Oh, and the godforsaken chocolate-covered cherries.
This was really strange listening to this song.
I don't know, he kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, well, it was okay, so this is like a Neumann idea. He talks about like the schism between the conscious system and the unconscious system being a unique characteristic of modern people. So we think our lives are so ensconced in our thoughts. That makes sense. That
I don't know the word ensconced very well.
basically just
Encompassed?
set in. Like,
Ensconced? What would something be that's ensconced? Is a ring
so it's kind of like
ensconced?
saying embedded. Like our lives are embedded. We think our lives are embedded in our thoughts. Or like that's the primary
That's the
aspect of our
perception.
life. Is the modern perception.
Mm.
Which puts us out of touch with our unconscious system. Which I think Peterson does a better job maybe than pointing out than Neumann. Is an embodied system. So like this guy has this whole song about. Let's see if we can get the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
All right,
I love the thought of being with you, or maybe it's the thought of not being so alone. That's
So we're listening to Hobo Johnson
And the Lovemakers.
playing Peach Scone, I guess is the song name.
this guy's not bad. Listen to these. All right, here's the line in question coming up here. All right. Maybe it's the thought of not being. It's a thought. It's like, what about actually
It's
being
not
with
actually-
you and actually being alone? There's a schism
What's the
there.
difference? Well, how can you be with somebody? It's
The difference
for
is
sure possible to be with people and still feel alone. That's the crux
Absolutely.
of most people's. That's the topic
I'm
of
saying-
most people's suicide note. Is that people were with
I
me all the
felt so
time.
alone.
People asked me, people were always trying to talk with me, but I could tell they weren't really listening, or like, it's like,
I thought they weren't really listening.
well, you'd have to think it to know it,
Right.
and then you could be as nihilistic as you want and be like, but do you know anything? Like,
So I'm glad you said that word.
oh, punk rock nihilism.
You said that too. I was thinking about I
It's-
thought my friend showed me this today. I thought in my head, I was like, this is worse than that punk rock nihilism.
What were they listening to?
No, it was literally Edge playing guitar. So what we're referring to, this is one of Sam and I's favorite things.
Well,
It's this video. It's a documentary of
I showed Steven one of my favorite movies
Yeah.
called It Might Get Loud.
yes. The best line that is Jimmy Page is listening to Edge play a riff on his guitar. And Jimmy Page said something to the effect of, a load of punk rock nihilism.
It's not that funny, but it's hilarious. Because
But
Jimmy Page is...
I think of that listening to a lot of music in today's day and age. But the reason it's great you said that, this ties in perfectly to the topic of Turgenev,
Mhm.
because this guy Bazarov is a self-proclaimed nihilist. And so they literally say what nihilism is. I'll read you that part. Is this it?
No.
No, this is him.
This is
jamming
him
out
listening to Ramble On. Which might be my favorite
Rumble,
scene.
to Rumble. This is a Rumble. He plays some very
He's such a sweetie. He looks like Yoda. He's so happy.
His guitar playing, his air guitar playing is more restrained than mine. Yeah, I'll work on that.
Yeah, you're getting a little
It's
too...
probably comes.
Steven will cause a crowd. Steven might get the police called on him one day because people will think he's on drugs while he's playing this air
It
guitar.
might be actually from drugs, but
It could be from the drugs.
this guy's into it. He says as he goes into his air guitar.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I'm glad this has 1.5 million views.
Anything with the guitar when I was a kid.
Anything with the guitar.
Yeah, this isn't it.
Yeah, that's not it. But
It's classic.
so I was listening to Hobo Johnson today, and I thought about that for sure. It's funny you said that. I was gonna ask them. You get what I'm saying though? Like, I mean, in a way, Hobo Johnson is a product of the time and place, and that lyric reflects that. I would say that lyric, which is the first two lines of a chorus of a song with 10 million views,
10.31 million views.
reflects this notion in Eric Neumann's book that the condition of modern consciousness is a schism between thoughts and actions, let's say, or the system by which we make things known and the system by which we interpret symbols. And I think it's like this guy isn't talking about actually being with a girl or actually being alone.
He says,
He's talking about
listen,
his thoughts.
let's read the... Alright, so we understand. And I love the thought of being with you, or maybe it's the thought of not being so alone. The second one's way sadder than the first one, but I don't know.
It's a load of punk rock nihilism.
I love the thought of being with you, or maybe it's the thought of not being so alone. Man, fuck, I really love being in
10
love.
million.
How about that one?
10
man,
million views.
Man, fuck, I really love being in love. But also, I really love not crying on the... It's a good song, man.
It's a listen.
He's incredible.
It touches a vein.
That's for sure. Have you ever heard this song?
I'm not. To be clear, I'm not
I'm
criticizing
not hating on
Hobo
anything.
Johnson.
No, not at all.
Does it sound?
No, I don't think it sounds like we are.
It's just like. It's a reflection
This is
of
amazing.
the ideas in the culture.
Here's another song. So this one's
This is a great poem too.
just put out an album on this.
I'm hoping we don't get taken off YouTube for this because they're a small band, or not small. They're very popular for their own right.
Wooden Heart live in London. Listen.
This is a listener is the band.
The song is Wooden Heart.
Nope. The song is. Oh yeah. Sorry. Band listener song Wooden Heart live in London. It's a beautiful song, man.
Can't stop me. I'll write a song about something if I want. And
It's punk rock nihilism. What?
This
No,
guy,
we're-
Punk Rock Nihilism.
Oh yeah. Wait till you hear it. He Hobo Johnson loves this guy. Right?
About how
That's why I
we're all
thought of
just
it.
on different, voyages, anyways. Metaphorically, we'll say, in different ways, and we get caught up on different things, and bits and pieces fall off, but we can all kind of come together and make a piece, make one big.
This
piece.
guy's got a fine
He's got a
mustache.
fine, beautiful mustache. He's got a little bit of a anxious
tendencies
tendencies in it about his actions.
There's
They're in a small, cramped little space.
Yeah, it might
We're
get
all
loud.
born to broken people on their most honest day of living. It's just our first breath will need grace, so we never given. Well, I've been haunted by standard red devils and white ghosts.
You might say
When
he
these eyes
is possessed.
These
by
lies are ropes, and I tied it in my stomach, but they hold this ship together.
They would have probably for sure said that back in
My dreams
Salem,
are sails
Massachusetts.
that I point towards my true
I don't
north.
think this was legal
Extend
back
my red
then.
bones and pray that it gets better. But it won't. At least I don't believe it will. So I built the wooden heart inside this iron ship to sail these blood-red seas and find your coast. Don't let these waves wash away your hopes, no. This warship is sinking, and I still believe in anchors. Pulling fistfuls of rotten wood from my heart, I still believe in saving. So we are all made out of shipwrecks, every single board. Wash your band like crooked teeth on these rocky shores, so come on and let's wash each other. With tears of joy and tears of grief. And fold our lives like crashing waves and run upon this beach. Come on and sew us together. We're just a tattered rag stained forever. We only have what we remember. When I'm the band and the big son of a woman, man, I barely made it. But we're making it. Tied together on borrowed crutches and new starts. We all have the same holes in our hearts. Everything falls apart at the exact same time that it all comes together perfectly for the next step. And my fear is this prison. And I keep locked below the main deck. I keep a key under my pillow. It's quiet, it's hidden. My hopes are weapons that I'm still learning how to use, right? But they're heavy and I'm awkward. I'm always running out of fire.
You might say that he and you have the opposite
Put it in
of
this
the
sinking ship,
version of
hoping every time
reading
we float
your
for just a few more
writings.
I'm out of shipwrecks, every twisted beat.
You might.
Lost and found.
There's certainly some space in between him and you.
Come on and let's wash each other. With tears of joy and tears of grief.
Something.
Yeah, there's some
Something
stuff
different.
still similar.
Some similarities as well.
Come on and sew us together. We're just some tattered rags
There's something
stained forever.
I
certainly
certainly
similar
can't
because
say
I
I'm-
can correlate the two of you.
Yeah.
My throat still
You're
tastes
both reading.
like house fire and salt water. I wear this hide like loose skin. Come on, rock me.
I will say this guy is very good at
hold each other together and not just be some fools rushing to die in our sleep.
relating
All
symbols
these
to one
machines
another.
will rust, I promise, but we'll still be electric, shocking each other back to life. Your hand in mine, and my fingers in your veins connected, our bones grown together in time. While our hands entwined, and my fingers in your veins connected, our spines grown stronger inside. So I think I know that our church is all made out of shipwrecks. From every hole these rocks have claimed. But we pick ourselves up and try.
I tried to go to a poetry reading the other day at the
Come on and let's wash each other. With tears of joy and tears of
library up or the art museum.
like
and couldn't get in. It was locked.
No shit.
We walked around the whole building.
We're just some tattered rags
Who's we?
stained forever.
Can't even know.
We only have what we remember.
How's she? Alright.
Slithering like she always does. She's fine.
She's good.
That was a beautiful thing he just did. Look at the end of this video.
At the end?
Yeah.
Look at his face. Little wink.
Little. He's like, yep, that's that.
I'll say this. I like that more than Hobo Johnson.
That makes me feel better than Hobo Johnson, that's for sure.
Mm.
Reading Hobo Johnson was nice.
Do you want to read the lyrics of this Bo Diddley song?
I walked 47 miles of barbed.
This is going to be the epigraph, I think, for my 8th story.
Should we just put it? Should we play it too? I'll read it, but we can play it. Should we
Yeah.
just read it?
Yeah, just read it. Go on.
Alright.
So the
I'll
song
just read these
yeah.
once.
Read from
Yeah. I walk 47 miles of barbed wire. I use a cobra snake for a necktie. I got a brand new house on the roadside made from rattlesnake hide. I got a brand new chimney made on top, made out of a human skull. Now come on, take a walk with me, Arlene, and tell me, who do you love?
Right now.
Tombstone hand and a graveyard.
And there's this guy Robbie Robertson. So the character I chose for whatever reason when I started writing the 8th story, which is the Strike of the Snake, by the way. So for whatever reason when I chose to write that, I named the guy Robbie. But so when the band is playing this song and this guy Ronnie Hawkins is singing, this is on the last waltz for people who care to watch. Ronnie Hawkins starts singing this, and then when he made on top, made from a human skull, and then he goes, "Come on, Robbie, let's take a little walk. Tell me who you love." So basically, when I initially wrote the story, I put this scene in there where Sam, who's the main character, obviously in the other stories, walks outside to take the trash out and sings the part from Ronnie Hawkins, "Come on, Robbie, let's take a little walk. Tell me, who do you love?" And so I decided today that I think I'm going to use that as the epigraph. I've changed it a number of times.
Have we ever talked on the show about how I don't think we really were friends, but when you started writing about a character named Sam, were we?
No, so I hadn't even started training at that point.
Right.
So, this was just when I was, basically I got to the point in my life where I was in Italy for the summer, where I was like, alright, I'm going to try to write this thing I just witnessed. And I just needed a character name, and so I went with that. Then, at dinner one time, my mom pointed out to me that when I was a little kid, I had an imaginary friend named Sam. And she thought when she read this thing that I wrote that was an intentional, that I chose that name because my imaginary friend when I was growing up was Sam. I haven't told my mom this, by the way. But it was just You
haven't told your mom this, but what do you mean? She told you that.
Right, but I haven't told her. I was like, oh yeah. But I'd never told her that I wasn't actually thinking about my imaginary friend.
How long did you have an imaginary friend?
It's like 6 or 5 or 6.
My mom caught me one time. It was so embarrassing.
Maybe a little older.
Because my imaginary friends, most of the times were girls, and I was always like, you know, I don't know why. Most of the time, it was Catwoman. How about that? But anyway, how about this for an embarrassing fucking story? I was downstairs where we had like our Nintendo 64 or whatever.
If you think it's weird to eat dark chocolate and pickles at the same time, fuck you.
Fuck you. But anyway, so at my house, my kitchen is right. My mom's cooking probably upstairs, and I'm downstairs in the dark, talking to my imaginary friend about I guarantee it was something weird.
Catwoman?
I was talking to Catwoman, yeah. guarantee it was something fucking weird, creepy, weird. And
I was talking to this pussycat. In the
I was
dark.
talking to a fake fucking girl in a sexy black outfit with a mask on.
In the dark.
In the dark. And my mom just goes, Sam, what are you doing? And I go, nothing. What are you talking about? And I just walked upstairs. She like wanted me to take a bath or some shit. And I was like, nothing. It was so fucking embarrassing. But
Okay, shit happened.
I forgot. I kind of always forget about imaginary friends. Like I forgot that those things that is an existing thing.
Yeah.
That exists. People all have. Do you think that kid that I said doesn't dream? Do you think he ever had an imaginary friend?
Hey, man.
Mind you, this is an adult with a full-time job and a family.
I wonder if
But maybe I'm crazy because I don't have a family
imaginary
or a
play will be
full-time job.
discouraged amongst kids kind of in the coming years.
Sorry, say that again.
I wonder if parents will encourage imaginary play less and less as we
Well-
move more and more away from our dreams. So to speak.
The only thing I can say to that, I mean, I could.
Obviously, yeah.
When I was a little kid, I would say one of the kids I hung out with most between like elementary to 6th grade.
Mhm.
This family that lives up the street from me, their parents always encouraged us to play physical games outside
Mhm.
and go into the sunlight.
Right.
But that was during the explosion of Nintendo and Microsoft and Sony.
Right.
So the battle for the parents then was don't allow your kids to spend all the time playing these amazing video games. But now it's
the kids
now it's
because they already have the phones.
well, it's get these kids a screen so they stop bugging us to do things.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's easier to be a dismissive parent now than it ever was.
It's also like you're just fucked because if the kid has a phone on him.
You can't. Yeah.
Like,
What the fuck, dude? It's
alright,
kind of
toss me that backpack.
it's kind of a reason that I can understand people not wanting to have children. Do you want this?
This one. This is a hell of a portrait, by the way. What do you think of that?
Nice.
It's Arcady and
Fathers and sons. It looks
Yeah,
like
Getty.
it looks like two sons to me.
yeah, those are the two. That's Arcady and Yevgeny, or Arcady.
Do you
and
think the other
Bazarov.
one smokes cigarettes too?
Yeah, they both. Dude, the way he's
Oh wow!
uses
Look at that!
the cigars.
Look at that! Well, look at this. So I looked at this whole thing. I saw this, and then look at that.
Mm.
It's just the cigarette.
Dude, well,
That's
the way
amazing.
he uses the cigar.
Let me show them the picture.
I'll try to find a good quote about how Turgenev uses the smoking habit to represent like the. Well, the burning of nature, let's say. That's really what he uses it to represent.
What a beautiful cover.
Let's see if I can find a good that.
Excuse me. That was a sin. I apologize. The strike of the snake. I'm so happy this
Pick a
exists
little-
in my life.
Pick a little part of it to read.
I
for
will.
the
Let me
people.
take a picture because if you don't know, people, me and the love/hate of my life constantly call each other a snake, and it is really bizarre to me that my random friend has written a story called "The Strike of the Snake," where the main character's name is Sam.
Alright.
It's bizarre to me.
We're going to talk about some punk rock nihilism.
Muy coincident.
So this is a conversation between Pavel Petrovich, who is the main character and his friend. The two main characters are the son and a friend. After they graduate university, Arkady takes his friend Bazarov, who has taught him the ways of nihilism at school, back to his father's estate. Bazarov is now having a discussion over tea with Arkady's uncle, who's the typical distinguished aristocrat. And they're discussing these ideas. This is, mind you, this was published in 1860 in Russia. Okay. Well, yes, this is Pavel Petrovich speaking. Alright. Well, yes, you're critics of society. That's what I think they're called. I'm in agreement with many of your criticisms, but... And now this is Bazarov. And then we realized that to chatter and simply go on chattering all the time about our running sores wasn't worth the effort, and led only to being banal and doctrinaire. Yeah. We saw that even the clever ones amongst us, the so-called leading figures in society and the social critics, as they are called, were no bloody good, and we were busy talking a lot of nonsense, fussing about with this and that kind of art and unconscious creativity and parliamentarianism and illegal profession and devil knows what, when the real business of life was about one's daily bread, when the grossest superstition was stifling us, when all our joint stock companies were collapsing simply because there weren't enough honest people, when even the liberation of the serfs, which the government's been so busy with, will scarcely do us any good because our peasants will be glad to steal from each other simply in order to drink themselves silly down the local pub. I see, interrupted Pavel Petrovich, I see. Meaning you're convinced of all this, and have decided for yourselves not to do anything serious about anything. And we've decided not to do anything about anything, Bazarov repeated somberly. He had suddenly grown annoyed with himself for having talked so much in front of this lordly gentleman. And just swear at everything, and swear at everything. And that's called nihilism. And that's called nihilism, Bazarov repeated, this time with particular cockiness. Pavel Petrovich made a slight face. So that's on page 52 and 3 of Fathers and Sons. I want to go through this paragraph a little here. So, if you watch through the two conversations across the pond between Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, it's like yes, tradition can rigify and become dogmatic, but are we willing to get rid of dogma and tradition entirely? And that's what this guy Bazarov does in his theory, and agrees that it ultimately leads to swearing at everything. Here, and let me see. I want to read you a few things from this, if you don't mind. It's all as good as this.
1 second.
What are you reading?
We saw even the clever ones amongst us, blah blah blah, were no bloody good, and we were busy talking a lot of nonsense, fussing about with this and that kind of art and unconscious creativity and parliamentarianism and illegal profession and devil knows what, when the real business of life was about one's daily bread, when the grossest superstition was
well-being, Sam, not Sam Harris.
There's a lot of Sams in the world lately. When the grossest superstition was stifling.
Tell me about it.
was stifling us, when all our joint stock companies were collapsing simply because there weren't enough honest people. When even the liberation of the serfs, which the government has been so busy with, will scarcely do us any good because our peasants will, what a beautiful word, be glad.
Yeah, I stumbled over that one.
Peasants will be glad to steal from each other simply in order to drink themselves silly down at the local pub.
What do you think of that one? And that's nihilism.
And
to
that's nihilism. And
swear
he says it with a
into-
slight face.
No, wait.
Or does the guy who repeats it makes the slight face, right?
This is the crux of it. And just swear at everything. And swear at everything. And that's called nihilism. And that's called nihilism, Bazarov repeated, this time with particular cockiness. Pavel Petrovich made a slight face.
Yes. Right.
So that's it, he declared in a strangely calm voice. Nihilism's got to come to the aid of all the wrongs in the world, and you're our saviors and heroes. But why in that case do you abuse others? Like those so-called social critics. Don't you chatter on just as much as the rest? We are guilty of most things, but not of that. Bazarov spat out through his teeth. So, like, that's an example. I don't know if we got this on camera yet. Of me talking about how
So
Turgenev embodies the emotion. And that's why his book is able to be like 800 pages shorter than Dostoevsky and Tolstoy. Is like that phrase is so powerful. Spat out through his teeth. And that's a meshing of the emotional and the figurative in the literally embodied flesh. It's so fun.
This one, yeah. Right.
But yeah, so Nikolai Petrovich, after this conversation about nihilism, it's a lot for him, so he goes to sit in his garden at sunset.
That's nice.
And he this is writing. I aspire to this. And he looked around, as if wishing to understand how anyone could fail to appreciate nature. Evening was already approaching. The sun was hidden behind a small aspen wood, which lay 1/4 of a mile from the garden. The shadow from it stretched endlessly across the motionless fields. A peasant was riding at a trot on a white horse along the dark narrow lane beside the wood. He could be seen quite clearly, even to the patch on his shoulder, despite the fact that he was in the shadow. The legs of his little horse flashed briskly and distinctly by. The sun's rays shot through the wood from the far side and penetrating into its depths, suffused the trunks of the aspen with such a warm light that they acquired the appearance of pines, while their foliage became almost pine blue, and above the wood there rose the coldly pale blue sky, slightly flushed by the sunset. Swallows flew high above. The wind had quite died. Late bees buzzed lazily and sleepily in the lilac blossoms. Midges swarmed in a column above a solitary, outstretched branch. My God, how marvelous, thought Nikolai Petrovich. And favorite verses sprang to his lips.
That's an interesting thing that's also different than Dostoevsky would ever do.
No, like
That was too much praise.
well, like
for
my God,
Dostoevsky.
like he shows in a paragraph and a half how you get God from nature. It's like, but anyhow,
Well, Dostoevsky also does that in A Dream of a Ridiculous Man. But
Dostoevsky,
he does it in such an aggressive fashion. And it's also a dream state
right
when he's doing it.
At least my experience reading Dostoevsky, he doesn't focus on the natural images or uses flowery language.
No, he doesn't.
This Turgenev guy really, it's beautiful. Like that.
He's
that's beautiful.
poetic. Yeah,
he's poetic.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Dostoevsky's more blunt.
Yeah, I would say so. So I really love that part. And that was, that was a joy to read.
Yeah, that is nice.
It
It almost sounds like something I read during my 11th grade British literature, like when we studied love poems. It reminded me of stuff we read then.
I was gonna say
But that was more Shakespearean time.
Well,
15, 1600s.
this line reminds me very much of
These allergies got me.
a Joni Mitchell song.
Which, on the left?
Well, not just Joni Mitchell. I mean, this image of kind of
Is this
the pine blue and the wind coming through the pine trees. That's very rock
How
and
much
roll.
land do these gentlemen have? Are they millionaires? I mean,
No.
in respect. I mean,
So-
it says he has a garden and goes to his favorite arbor.
This guy is of the landowning class, but not killing it so far as landowners go. Like his state's kind of run down.
Oh, okay.
And like things aren't blossoming that well, but it's still nice. It's nice enough, you know.
Something nihilist right away. It turned out that he had spent days on end one winter in St. Petersburg reading away at the latest works of fiction, all for nothing.
Because his son
For
had
nothing.
become a nihilist. That's why. So he basically, his son has fallen into these ideas of Bazarov. Here, can I read a line his son says? Hold on. I'm gonna tell me if we're not into this. But.
No, I'm into it. I'm just too into every time you grab it. I'm like, wait.
So, Arcady has this. I got it. That was great.
I
It was right there. This is.
got it by the neck.
All right. So this is literally half a page down from what we were reading. So this is still in discussion between Pavel Petrovich and Bazarov. We're guilty of most things, but not of that, Bazarov spat out through his teeth. Is that so? Are you taking action then? Are you preparing to act? Asked Pavel Petrovich. Bazarov did not answer. Pavel Petrovich literally shook with rage, but at once took control of himself. To take action, to smash things, he went on. But how can you smash something without even knowing why you're doing it? This is Arcady. We smash things because we're a force, remarked Arcady. Pavel Petrovich looked at his nephew and smiled faintly. Yes, a force literally doesn't take account of anything, declared Arcady, and sat up straight. Oh, you wretch, yelled Pavel Petrovich. He was positively in no condition to restrain himself any longer. If only you'd give a moment's thought to what it is in Russia you're supporting with your banal maxim. No, this could try the patience of an angel. Force. There's force in the wild Kulmuk and the Mongol. So what's that to us? Civilization is what's dear to us. Yes, indeed, my good sir. Its fruits are dear to us. And don't you tell me that its fruits are worth nothing at all. The meanest dauber, borbouillet, a chap playing a piano for 5 kopecks an evening. They're all more useful than you are, because they are representatives of civilization, and not of brute Mongol force. You imagine you are leaders of society, but all you want to do is live in Kulmuk huts. Force. Just you remember finally, you men of force, that there are only 4.5 of you, but there are millions of others who won't allow you to trample underfoot, Led Zeppelin, their most sacred convictions, who will stamp you out once and for all. Anyway.
Wow.
So Arcady
That's
thinks
amazing.
they're a force.
You know what's going on?
And there's nihilists you meet who it's like, we're a force.
You want to know who that is?
Who? Don't say. Who's a
That
force?
snaky snake, that Colleen. I
Yeah.
call her a nihilist all the time. She also listen to this. Listen to this for...
I'm gonna tell you some weird shit in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay. The first time I met her, I was intrigued because she was bussing tables at the brewery, and she was seemingly creating more messes than she was cleaning up. That's what it seemed like. I was like, this is amazing. This girl is... It was bringing tears to my eyes. Like, it was so adorable.
For the
I was like,
record,
this girl can't do...
Sometimes when I'm sleeping
Busting.
at work, I feel like I'm moving around more than
You're
I'm...
yeah, you just... Sometimes, you're just putting water down and drying it up. It's a constant cycle. You gotta make a mess to clean a mess, I guess. But, anyway, she's also very nihilistic, and she's quite literally that
The next
metaphor.
part I wanted to read you.
Proceed.
Bazarov meets a lady.
Hey.
And
Hey. Be careful. Oh, man. I won't tell you this on camera, but the conversation that I had with Spencer today about women was...
he's a little bit of a punk rock nihilist.
Whoa, boy. I say, poor boy.
Jesus.
Ay.
Grab me a beer.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Prost. Anyways,
Alright.
let's be proactive. I'm gonna reset the camera on my own time.
How's this beer? This dude, I'm telling you, this book is fucking killer, you know?
You can tell a book by its cover sometimes.
Hey, every once in a while.
Maybe that was like the original censorship. Was that quote, "Don't judge a book by its cover." It's like, no, wait. What if we should? What if we should and you're just being a bitch about it?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Why not?
Depends on the cover.
Why not?
Well,
Depends if the
for
cover's
one, it
made by
might
the
be the
person.
editors, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's your book.
If it's your cover.
If you're really honest.
This guy got lucky. They made his cover after it was dead.
Bless him. Because it's such a good book.
I will say, too, look this up to fact check me, maybe. But I'm pretty sure of the three, this might not be true because Tolstoy had a weird life. But I'm pretty sure this Turgenev guy, of the three,
Clear your throat, please. It sounded like he was sucking helium. But it's just cream cheese.
I would
We all know about that phlegmy phlegm.
Oh.
Anyway, what did you want me to look up?
Basically, I was going to say, I think of the three Russian authors, Turgenev had my most preferable romantic life. Mainly because I think he fell in love with a French ballerina or opera singer or something of that sort. He got...
There's nothing better than a dancer.
Look, I'm pretty sure that's true. I think it was a heartbreak. She was a heartbreaker, though.
I bet you.
If I remember correctly. I mean, well,
If they aren't, maybe they're not even worth it. Anyways.
don't take our word for it.
Don't
Find
take my
out
word for it.
yourself.
Yeah, you gotta tread that fucking field of dragons yourself, my friend. I'm
Good
doing the
life.
best I can. Okay. Bavara? Never married, but had some affairs. Illegitimate daughter, Paulinette.
Yeah, Paul. What's her name?
Paulinette? He was,
Oh,
no, that's his daughter. Oh, okay. You want to know his...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It doesn't say the name of his mistress.
Let's see if this has.
So we're trying to figure out
Who?
Ivan Turgenev's lady.
Situation.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he fell in love with a French dancer, but I could have been making that up. I think I'm not.
Oh, listen to this. When Turgenev was a child, a family serf had read to him verses from Rosiad of Mikhail Karaskov, a celebrated poet in the 18th century. Turgenev's early attempts in literature, poems, and sketches gave indications of genius and were favorably spoken by Vissarion Belinsky, then the leading Russian literary critic. Wow. When he was a child.
Fair enough.
Oh, he was a friend of Tolstoy.
Yeah. Apparently they had interesting relations.
Wrought such animosity that Tolstoy challenged Turgenev to a duel afterwards, apologizing. The two did not speak for 17 years, but never broke family ties. Oh, their family? I guess we kind of glanced over this whole thing, but...
Tolstoy wrote in his diary, Turgenev is a bore.
Oh, got him. Turgenev occasionally visited England, and in 1879 the honorary degree of Doctor of Civil Law.
We'll look into this more later.
Anyways.
But anyhow. Wait. That's her.
That's Paulinette, his daughter.
No, that's Pauline Bardot.
Oh. Was a leading 19th century French
Opera. Spanish opera singer.
Mezzo-soprano, pedagogue,
A French
composer of
Spanish singer.
descent.
A
Wait,
French
so
singer
what
with
about her?
Spanish blood. So they had a thing.
Oh, wait. Let me
Look at her.
Among them were Alexander Herzen and Turgenev himself, who he moved to. Fateful? Not faithful. Fateful.
Yeah. Oh, dang it, I know well.
Love for Pauline Bardot and nothing else. So he moved to Western Europe for her. Didn't end well. He wrote Rudin and...
Maybe I'd rather be Tolstoy. He had a lovely marriage.
God bless him, you know? I don't know, though.
You don't know. You don't know.
Let me look up Pauline Bardot. Early life, death, career. It was probably part of her career, I'd say.
What a skeptic.
How dare you? She was trying to make a name. I know these fucking... I know fucking motives when I see them. One thing Jordan Peterson taught me the moment I started reading Maps of Meaning was...
There's always
got
a motive. What if a motive was true love for Mr. Turgenev at the time?
Then it would have said faithful and not fateful.
What if she didn't even know her motive?
Then she's more like Colleen and she should get bent. Fuck all of them, dude. Fuck them all.
Alright.
He's fucking... Listen, like Jordan Peterson says, there's a lot of dragons out there. You just focus on the ones that present themselves to you. You don't go searching for dragons that aren't going to be there anyway, bro. Or gal.
Do you really think I can... Okay, this is Anna Sergeyevna... Wait, let's get a good pronunciation. Anna Sergeyevna's. Anna Sergeyevna's.
Sergeyevna's.
So this is the girl Bazarov meets. He and Arkady get invited to her estate, and they stay there for 15 days. Bazarov has to leave to see his dad, so they're gonna talk and sort through their... They're talking through their shit on the eve of his departure.
Anna Sergeyevna. It's a pretty name. Sergeyevna.
Let's take a good start. This reminds me of so many girls I met in school. Bazarov shook his head. You're healthy, independent, and wealthy. What more do you want? What exactly do you want? What do I want? Repeated Odintsova, who's also Anna Sergeyevna. What do I want? Repeated Odintsova, and sighed. I'm so tired, and I'm old, and I feel I've been living a very long time. Yes, I'm old, she added. gently drawing the ends of her lace mantilla over her bare shoulders. Her eyes met Bazarov's, and she colored very slightly. Behind me there are already so many memories.
Is that blush? She colored very slightly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Behind me, she's described as being pale a lot. Her paleness is of issue.
It's of issue. Oh,
Behind me
that's
there
such an old-timey thing. Your paleness is of issue. You need to go to the doctor.
Behind me there are already so many memories. Life in St. Petersburg, wealth, then poverty, then the death of my father, my marriage, then going abroad as one is expected to. My marriage, then going abroad as one is expected to. Lots of memories, but no point in remembering them. And ahead of me a long, long road, with nothing to aim for. I just don't want to go along it. Are you that disillusioned? Bazarov asked. No, said Odintsova, pausing between the words, but I'm dissatisfied. I think, if only I could feel a strong attachment to something or other. You want to fall in love, Bazarov interrupted.
Yeah, Hobo Johnson.
But you can't. That's why you're unhappy. Odintsova took to the studying of the sleeves of her mantilla. Do you really think I can't fall in love, she said. Of course not. It's simply that I was wrong to call you unhappy. On the contrary, when that sort of thing happens to someone, that person deserves. On the contrary, when that sort of thing happens to someone, that person deserves rather... I don't understand that. On the contrary, when that sort of thing happens to someone, that person deserves rather to be pitied. That makes sense. They deserve rather to be pitied. When what happens? Falling in love. How do you know that? It's what I've been told, Bazarov said angrily. Alright. Then he kind of goes through this. He thinks to himself, you're flirting, you're bored and having a bit of fun with boredom. We gotta get to this one point. No, that's okay. When what happens, Odintsova says. Falling in love. How do you know that? It's what I've been told, said Bazarov angrily. You're flirting, he thought. You're bored and you're having a bit of fun with me without a... You're flirting, he thought. You're bored and you're having a bit of fun with me out of boredom. While I... His heart was actually on the point of breaking. He, of course, is in love with Odintsova. That's what I meant when... That was what I was thinking about when I was telling you how Turgenev writes about organs.
Right.
His heart was literally on the point of breaking. So basically what happens is... I might want to read one more thing from the end of the scene.
You're flirting, he thought. You're bored and you're having a bit of fun.
He's thinking, I think...
What a sad thing that I live this same life.
Are you thinking that to yourself?
I'm telling that to you from my experience.
Oh, yeah.
It happens to me
Hey,
a lot.
it's typical.
It's typical. A life for a life. If you've taken
This is
what's mine-
intense. Read this part out loud.
Okay, so you're flirting, he thought. You're bored and you're having a bit of fun with me out of boredom. While his heart was actually on the point of breaking. Still, perhaps you're too demanding, he said. Sorry, that was rude. Anyways.
Wait, what?
I said and then I turned it on and you said
Oh.
okay. You don't have to put that in there. Anyways.
I hear what you said. Go on.
Perhaps for me it's either all or nothing, a life for a life. If you've taken what's mine, then you've got to give up what's yours, and then there won't be any regrets or going back. There's no better way than that.
There's no better way than that.
Is that so,
Read that one
Mark?
more time.
The whole thing. Perhaps for me it's either all or nothing. A life or a life. If you've taken what's mine, then you gotta give up what's yours. And then there won't be any regrets or going back. There's no better way than that.
Shit.
Is that so, remarked Bazarov? That's justice, all right, and I'm only surprised you haven't so far found what you wanted. So you think it's easy to give yourself up completely to whatever you want? It's not easy if you start thinking about it and playing for time and giving yourself a high price. Making much of yourself, that is. But if you do it without thinking, it's easy to give yourself something. Or to something. Let's say that again. It's not easy if you start thinking about it and playing for time. And giving yourself a high price. Making much of yourself, that is. But if you do it without thinking, it's easy to give yourself to something.
It's easy to give yourself to something.
If you do it without thinking, it's easy to give yourself to something.
If you do it without thinking. Hobo.
How can you not make much of oneself? How can one not make much of oneself? If I'm not worth anything, who needs my loyalty? That's not my business. It's for the other person to decide what I'm worth. Oh, fuck. Oh. That was... What is her name?
Anna Sergeyevna. That was a good pronunciation.
Odin Sova, wasn't that?
Same girl.
Oh, fuck her, dude.
What'd you say? It's for the other person to decide what I'm worth?
Yeah, so the reason she's such a nihilist is because how can one not make much of oneself, he asks. If I'm not worth anything, who needs my loyalty? That's not my business. It's for the other person to decide, she says, what I'm worth. The main thing is to know how to give yourself. Odintsova raised herself away from the back of her armchair. You say this, she began, as if you've experienced it all yourself. A good point, Anna Sergeyevna. But it's all, you know, not in my line. But you know how... But you would know how to give yourself? I don't know. I don't want to boast. Odintsova said nothing.
Read till the end of the chapter, if you don't mind.
Odintsova said nothing, and Bazarov fell silent. The sounds of the piano floated to them from the drawing room. Katya's playing so late, remarked Odintsova. Bazarov stood up. Yes, it's really late now. Time you were in bed. Wait a moment. Where are you off to? I want to say something. What? Wait a moment, whispered Odintsova. Her eyes were fixed on Bazarov as if she were studying him closely. He strode about the room, then suddenly approached her, hurriedly, said goodbye, squeezed her hand so tightly she almost gave a cry, and then went out. She raised her squashed fingers to her lips, blew on them, and instantaneously, impulsively rose from the armchair and took rapid steps to the door as if wanting to bring Bazarov back. A chambermaid came into the room with a carafe on a silver tray. Odintsova stood stock still, ordered her to go, and again sat down and once more grew thoughtful. Her plait unwound and fell like a dark snake on her shoulder.
Plait. Her braid.
Her plait. That's pronounced plait?
I don't know. Her braid.
Her braid unwound and fell like a dark snake on her shoulder. The lamp went on burning for a long time in Anna Sergeyevna's room, and for a long time she remained motionless, only occasionally running her fingers over her armchair, which were being slightly nipped by the night cold. Meanwhile, Bazarov, after a couple of hours, returned to his bedroom and with boots wet from dew, looking disheveled and sullen. He found Arkady sitting at the writing desk with a book in his hands, dressed in a coat buttoned up to the top. "You're not in bed yet?" he queried, apparently annoyed. "You spent a long time with Anna Sergeyevna this evening," said Arkady, without answering the question. "Yes, I was with her the whole time you and Katya were playing the piano." "I wasn't playing," Arkady began and then stopped. He felt tears rising in his eyes, and he had no wish to start crying in front of his mocking friend.
Okay. That end is like the letter.
There's a little bit of reading for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Basically what happens next is Bazarov tells Anna Sergeyevna he loves her. That's a whole ordeal.
Yeah, it is.
But we don't have to go into that, I don't think. Anyhow, I'm enjoying this book very much. It's good.
I gotta thank my friend for this weed because it's
Good.
fucking amazing. I really like the flavor.
I also recommend to people they read the story Bezheen Meadow. That's beautiful. But it ends sadly.
How do you spell it?
Bezhin Meadow. Basically, this hunter gets lost in the woods and spends the night around a campfire with these 4 boys. It's a movie?
It's a 31-minute.
Oh wow, it's a Soviet.
Made from
that
1937.
would be interesting to watch. I bet.
We don't need to watch that 30 minutes, but
Apparently, there's a movie about this story that was a Soviet production.
Soviet film famous for 1937 Soviet film famous for having
Wow.
been suppressed and believed destroyed before its completion.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Tells the story of a young farm boy whose father attempts to betray the government for political reasons by sabotaging the
what?
year's harvest and the
What?
son's efforts to
This
stop
is not the story.
No?
Not really the one Turgenev wrote, but it's a variation, I guess. The film draws its title from a story by Ivan Turgenev, but is based on the life of Pavlik Morozov.
My dad would say Morozov.
That's probably better.
I think that's
pronunciation.
correct.
Oh.
And this is probably Bezheen Meadow, not Bezheen Meadow.
Bezheen.
Bezheen.
Hey, don't fucking hold me to my Russian pronunciations.
This is gonna look weird, but I'm gonna do this.
You want some vodka to go with your pickle
Oh,
juice?
pickle juice is so good. I like pickle juice more than I like actual pickles.
I
don't like the
pickles.
texture
I like
of pickles
pickle
too
juice.
much. They're like soft, so soft and so hard. They're an interesting thing. However, I do like hard bread, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know, man. Textures are interesting things. That's probably pretty Freudian.
What?
Texture.
Are interesting?
Like, you probably, well, Freudian as in, like, from your childhood. Like, you
Oh.
probably learn textures that you really like from flavors that you...
I bet you like the same textures.
now and then.
Yeah, like
That's
Like
yeah,
you develop the
I think
sense
you
of that
develop,
at a young
develop
age,
your
yeah.
sense of texture early.
That is a weird thing to think about. But-
Everything's fucking weird to think about.
So for my bar mitzvah project, which
Look at this beautiful
people who
picture.
are Jewish and do bar mitzvah projects will know what that is, but basically you do like a project about you doing good deeds sometimes before your bar mitzvah. Some temples have that as like a thing that you do,
Oh, fuck.
which I don't like the idea of, but so
I don't like that idea either.
like, yeah, it was weird. But what I did for it was basically volunteered at this thing called Miracle League of Michigan, which is like, they basically like have these
Miracle League?
like, yeah,
Like
miracle.
a sport? Like
It's
granting
it's
miracles to
No,
people
so,
is a sport?
So it's basically like these like autistic or otherwise not really autistic, like other special needs kids who have, you know, a number of different things. I think the coach was very, very kind to me of this team that I volunteered with. His kid's cerebral palsy, I think. But so I volunteered for this thing, and I was the buddy or whatever of this kid Marcus the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have no idea what this kid's like litany of shit was.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he was like 6 or whatever. He couldn't talk. Like, he couldn't like
Sure.
put words together. But he was pretty, compared to the other
What were
kids,
you
he was
guys
like
doing?
able-bodied. It was like this baseball game.
It
But,
was
like,
an actual baseball game? Or was it like a baseball game?
It was kind of like a
It was
baseball game.
on a baseball diamond? With
But it
a
was
baseball
like
bat and a
all-
baseball.
like
gloves.
a big ball,
Oh,
a
okay.
big bat,
I got you,
and
got you,
like
got you, got you.
the kids would do what they could
I got you,
depending
got
on
you,
their
got you, got you.
situation.
Yes.
But so this
I
kid
see.
Marcus, compared to a lot of the other kids who are in wheelchairs or crutches or whatever, he was really able-bodied. He literally just couldn't like figure out like what the rules of any games were.
Was this from?
It's at
Were
like
they
this
from
park in Southfield.
But where were the kids from? Where were the kids
all
staying?
all over. Their parents would come.
It was just a
like,
program.
The reason it was nice.
It was
really,
a program though, not like a.
Yeah.
They weren't from a specific
The
hospital.
reason it was nice, in a large part, was just because the parents got to take like a 30-minute break from dealing with their kids or whatever. But so I got put with this kid Marcus, who, he didn't really physical disabilities, but he just couldn't like figure out what the rules of the game was, like what to do. He just wanted to run around. But one of the things he would do was, so on the fence, on the top of the fence, there was this yellow thing that covered the edge of the fence, and it was like had ridges in it. You know, it was
Yeah,
like,
I understand what you're saying. I think people see what.
yeah, it was
People
like
know
this
what that
round
looks
thing.
like. It covers the
and-
top of a fence, and it's plastic. And
Right.
There's a cut in the bottom of this cylinder, and you just place it on top of the fence.
And it has this ridge.
And
Oh.
it's a it's like a squared off edge,
Yeah.
and it's rigid.
So what this kid would do is literally, he would run from one end of the thing to the other and put his hand on the ridges and just feel the.
Yeah.
And he loved that, and
course.
we would just. And so I would just run
It's
back.
like being on ecstasy all the time.
So I would run back and
Oh.
forth with this kid, and we would.
You did it too?
So like, every once in a while, I could like get him to play catch with me, or like to the point where I'd like roll him the ball, and he might like actually like be interested in it and pick it up. But, like most of the time, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
His parents were really nice folks.
Yeah. I had
Dad smoked. Remember, he used to smoke.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have a few kids on my
Can't
bus.
blame that guy.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
like-
Smoke them up, dude. Smoke them if you got them. A few unfortunate souls had to, or rode my bus, and I
Sure.
got to see their, the way their parents looked.
Oh, it's tough, I'm sure.
So sad.
Yeah, man. Don't wish that on anyone. Yes. But, yeah. So anyway, textures.
an amazing-
interesting textures, right?
It's right, yeah. How about that? It's an amazing feat.
To be able to-
Brain chemistry creates the ability to accomplish creating a somewhat sustainable life.
Or just a system
If
capable of
if you have
deluding
if you have
itself
that was
into
kind of
sanity,
my,
you know?
that thought was super sporadic. But what I mean,
No, I know.
what I meant to say is
It's amazing we
The-
can
the
come to
ability
something
of a
that
human-
seems like a balance.
the ability of a human to have a kid and it be so unfortunate.
Or what's
in
it?
genetic malfunction.
At the very least, seemingly different from.
and
the-
like
Yeah.
people just want to. The difference is society. Like you want to be able to.
Say that's just a society.
What I'm saying is people want to be able to be conducive with society,
Hmm.
and so they don't want to have a kid that causes any issues. So you kind of, even though your kid really doesn't want to conform because they just don't have the function, they don't have the ability to
Right.
function like we do. You're not willing to just abandon it because
Yeah.
because you just don't as a human being. Like you don't.
Right.
You don't. You just have your kid and you are happy with your
So,
kid.
this is a cool plot line from one of the kind of online shows I've binged recently. This one not so recently. It's called The Man in the High Castle. Have you heard of that? It's an Amazon series.
No.
Basically, what if scenario, like what if the Germans won World War II and conquered America. And so, like, now we're in, like, the 1950s.
Is it a
and,
drama?
Yeah.
It's like a
it's like a drama. It's a drama. So it's like, what if the West Coast was ruled by the Japanese and the East Coast was ruled by the Germans? And so there's this German-American general in New York. And so the Nazis have all these basically standards that people have to meet, or else they're not up to Nazi grade material and they have to be killed. So this general's kids has some condition where this doctor finds out about it, and he's going to be like, he's basically a degenerate. And so he's put in a situation where he has to kill his own kid, hypothetically.
So it's basically their version of the
And so
IQ test.
This dad, but it was literally like he just had a medical condition, like, that was it. And his dad whacks this doctor instead of using the syringe that the doctor gives him to assisted suicide his kid. He kills this doctor.
Jabs him? Where, in the back?
No, in the thigh, I think. So, speaking of the position those parents are put in, that was a dramatized version of it. Yeah.
Selective breeding, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Those. It's an interesting thing Huxley talks about for sure, is what that looks like hypothetically. That's really what the first pages of Brave New World are about, is what selective breeding would look like if we took it out of the family, out of the mother's womb, and put it in a petri dish.
Oh.
And that's how we built our utopia, was by scientifically breeding types of people. Which, you know, hypothetically.
Well, that makes me think about something. Well, bring it back to something that won't be brought back in our podcast, because it was.
When the mic was off?
Yeah, the mic was off. But when we were talking about, can you dream of a face that you've never seen before? It's like, can you dream of a place that you've never been before? Yeah, because you can dream of a hypothetical scenario. You can hypothesize on anything.
You can dream of something. Then
as long as it's realistic enough.
Something, and the only thing you have to relate it to is whatever the thing that you think you saw in your dream was. And so, after the fact of the dream, the thing you experience in the dream becomes the analogous thing you experienced in reality. That was a stem I just ate. I thought it was going to be a chip. Oh. Got a little out there.
Yeah. I'm just so overwhelmed by dreams lately. It's hard for me. Lately, yeah, man. I don't know.
Any really strange ones you'd like to share?
I'm stuck. I could share dreams forever. I just don't know which ones I've talked about on the podcast or not. Recently, I've been stuck when people say the word dream. I think of, do you know, Steven doesn't play video games, but everyone's going to be able to picture Diddy Kong. And so...
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, so I could find you a picture of what my dream looks like, because I know that this is a real thing. I know where I got the dream picture, but I've never ridden on a miniature golf cart with a woman in my lap, and I'm not a monkey, but I've had a dream where I am Diddy Kong, and I have a girlfriend. Anyway, that's my dream, and I've been having dreams that vivid for a long, long, long time.
Well, hopefully one day Sam gets...
Well, so...
Do you imagine that you have back control with a bi-triangle?
No, I'm doing it... That's old Sam, because he's doing it with his ankles crossed, like I'm in full guard. But it's also a loving thing. It's not like I'm trying to tap her, and she's not
Oh,
going to
she's
try to
not
ankle lock
gonna-
me.
Well, hopefully.
Future bitches in my life, don't you try to ankle lock me while I'm on your back, dog. That's disrespectful.
It's uncalled for.
That's uncalled for. I'm not going to try to body lock triangle you to submit you. I would if I could. Or if it was legal. Or fair, I should say.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
We didn't want to break a rule.
I'm in this thing. I'm in this cart. And she's sitting in there and I'm behind her like this and we're collecting these coins. This is exactly my dream. But I'm it. I'm in it and it's real. And it's like this. It's hard. It's weird.
Wow.
It's very,
It's quite
very
bizarre.
bizarre. I've also probably told this story on the podcast, but I had a dream one time where, and Freud talks about it being the crux of when his father actually dies is when he realized like what he was writing interpretation of a dream about. Like his father died and then he wrote this book and he like correlated the two. And he says like that's the most intense experience a man can have is
His father
witnessing his father die. But anyway,
So I will say this.
which is the beginning of Lord of the Rings, by the way.
Not the end though. So no. So Neumann would say that the death of the personal father, or the myth of the hero killing his personal father, is a means to the end of associating or becoming one with the transpersonal, transcendent spiritual father.
So listen,
Which is something Freud obviously rejected, was this connection with the transcendent father.
Mm.
So that's really interesting. I didn't know that about Freud's book, but
That's an introduction.
I'm sure Neumann did. Neumann wrote a lot about Freud, and
So anyway, my dream is maybe that's interesting
it's like right.
interpretation of what this dream means. I've never thought about it like that.
What?
But, so I'll tell you, the dream I had one time was, I'm sure I've told it on the podcast, I talk about it all the time. I'm driving in, like, the desert. If you've ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
I've seen
So when they're in the bats, when they're dealing with all the bats at the very beginning, I'm on a road like that with my dad, and he's in the passenger seat, and I'm driving. And we're driving, and all of a sudden, that's funny, driving is a song, and the next line is To Our Graves. But in my dream, I'm driving down this road, and my dad, like, points, like, emphatically, because he used to do that all the time while we were on vacation. Like, he's like, look at that. Like, that's sweet. Like, look at that. And he's like, look at that. And I'm like, okay. And so I look at it, and it's just a billboard. I don't know what it said or anything like that. I can picture it being, like, purple or something. And I just, like, turn to it, and I, like, head to it. And he's like, yeah, just go to it. Like, hit it. And I'm like, we're going to die. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. And so we just drive into it and destroy the car. We're going, like, 120 miles an hour. And we destroy the car, and when I hit, like, I'm not able to feel, like, you can't feel things in dreams, obviously. So when I hit it, my body just explodes, like, everything explodes, and my vision is, like, I would say 100 feet in the air, like, to the eagle view, yeah, like, to the eagle eye, like, the sun.
Yeah.
And so we're looking now at
the sun's eye view.
The sun's eye
With
view
the
of
sun's eye view.
Yeah, we're looking with the sun's view at the billboard, and it's just like an explosion. And then I woke up and was like, killed my dad. Damn it. Because I felt like I'm still alive, like I didn't die, but I felt guilty, like, oh
yeah.
shit, I fucking killed you.
So you're with your personal father.
Mm-hmm.
You kill your personal father.
I know, that's what I said. That's why it's amazing that you
That's
told me that.
amazing, yeah.
I never thought about it like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that what you were saying was maybe that's an interpretation for this. Okay.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. When Steven told me that prior
Yeah,
to me
that makes
saying
a lot
that,
of sense. Okay.
I was in.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It's interesting, right?
That was some. Hopefully
I have a
Sigmund's
very-
satisfied with our
I'm
interpreting
really
dreams.
coming to realize that I have a very powerful dreamscape,
You-
and it's
Yeah, you.
interesting. My
It's interesting with me, like,
I hate to be egotistical or narcissistic about it, but the haikus poems that I've been practicing writing,
have been your dream images.
they're kind of like dream images, and if you read them in a row, they kind of become like one big poem.
That's,
They're kind of fun.
May I?
Yeah, if you want to read like.
Do you want me to read them or you want to read
I don't really want to read them.
them? So should I read them? Can I read? Pick one for me to read.
Read 17 through 21 and just
In a
read
row?
them through.
Okay.
Yeah. You can stop anywhere and pause anyhow.
Alright. Haiku number 17. Significant number.
I would recommend not reading them with the numbers. Just like read.
Oh, just read them? Okay.
That's how I think of them. Just
Okay,
read
okay,
them
yeah,
all the way
okay.
through, like they're
As
stanzas.
if it's just stanzas at one
Yeah.
point. Okay. Haiku number 17 through 21.
Ah, there you go.
The problem with sex, you won't admit the issue. Problems grow bigger. Why would you not want the creation of your dreams? It won't birth itself. I keep bothering you. No, you don't. I like it. The snake in the flower. The pitch of her voice. I just realized what I have. They call it a muse. The containment skill is what satisfies us both. It's why we did it.
Thanks.
That could be a lot fucking worse.
Thanks, dude.
That's really good.
Thanks. That's only
How did it sound to your
17.
ear?
That's my yeah. It could have been better. It could have been worse. It's funny. It's funny to hear.
I
It's
could have
embarrassing
read.
a
Let me
little bit,
read. I didn't like how I read 19.
but my favorite one's the snake in the flower.
No, me too. I didn't understand.
Is that 19?
I couldn't understand how I was supposed to read it though. I keep bothering you. No, you don't. I like it. The snake and flower. That's how it should be read. Yeah, that was better. I keep bothering
It's
you.
basically like a conversation between a snake and a flower.
Yeah. Yeah. Very well done, my friend. Keep it up.
Yeah. Thanks. It's interesting to write about.
Yeah, I would say your dreams are more imagistic than mine. I have like these fucking narrative dreams. It's very weird. It's always intertwined with what I'm reading. I like riff on the plots in my dreams of like whatever I'm reading or the shows I'm watching. I have a lot of dreams about espionage situations, especially lately because I watched another season of that show, The Americans.
Good.
Did some fun spy stuff.
You should go back to like 1800s, 1900s graphic novels, or like not graphic novels,
Russian
like
novels.
Russian, or not even Russian, just spy novels.
Like and read them.
Yeah.
No, I like the person I want to read more of in that field is this guy John Le Carré.
Mm-hmm.
There are a number of books of his I'd like to read. But yeah, the Americans is a great fucking show. Like not just it's a great period. It doesn't matter if you like spy shit or not.
Sure.
Like they did a fucking killer job with that show.
Nice,
I thought.
nice.
It's like basically like it's been interesting too because like in a large part kind of these ideas Peterson would call the neo-Marxist panoply of ideals. Those have been maintained from Marx through the communist system, and it's like it was kept alive in the Soviet Union, and now these ideas are coming full circle. But so this show kind of put another piece of the puzzle for me together because, like, you know, I start reading about these ideas, like, with Turgenev and Dostoevsky, and then you get, like, Mikhail Bulgakov writing in the 1920s, and then Solzhenitsyn writing in the 60s. And then you get this show, The Americans, that kind of is about the 80s, and you start building, like, this chronological picture of how these ideas play out. And so basically the main character of the show, The Americans, has this personality crisis where he essentially, through this kind of self-help program called est, which, by the way, is the verb to be in Latin. The writers of the show were fucking good. Hence, est is to be in Latin. But this guy has this personality crisis where he becomes indoctrinated through this self-help program in the American ideals of essentially caring about yourself, whereas the Russian idea is country before self, or to not value yourself. And he can't do his job as a Russian spy in the U.S. because of it, basically. And it's really a fucking clever show. I enjoyed it very much. Are we running out of shit to talk about, I think?
Well, never.
Not really.
Never.
Just having a moment of time.
I'm just thinking a lot.
Yeah.
My mind is moving at the fastest pace it's ever moved at lately. It's a good thing. But I can't sleep. I don't sleep. I love laying in bed. I love laying in bed though. So it's
maybe this is. I don't know if it's only to clear my conscience.
Well, we might run out of space on our microphone or battery, but well.
Sit down.
So it goes.
What I was saying is, I can only imagine how much of a shock it's been to your fucking intellect. You've thrown yourself into the deep end. Let's put it that way.
I feel better. Feel healthier.
That's good.
Makes me feel
listen,
healthier.
I think it's. I'm not telling you to fucking stop what you're doing. I'm just saying, shock to the system, my friend.
In my eyes,
And
it's
you're not-
been
it's
modest.
not like you're-
It's been a modest amount of things.
Yeah,
It's not been too much.
that's good. But you're thinking.
I'm trying to calculate everything I'm reading, which is
What do you mean by
maybe
that?
taking more time than I should.
What do you mean calculate everything?
Like, I'm trying not to go past things that I'm not sure about. Like, I get too involved in trying to figure out everything that I'm reading. And so it takes me a minute to get through a page sometimes.
Yeah, I would say
So I'm
keep
like,
doing that.
I just don't understand that sentence.
Yeah, I would say
think
keep
it's just,
doing that.
Yeah. Like, yesterday, in an hour's reading, it was a
Sometimes reading's
success.
slow going, man.
It was a success to get through 5 pages.
To give you an idea, I can read 10 to 15 pages of this in an hour. This moves a little faster than Tolstoy. Depends on the scene in Dostoevsky. He can.
I'm talking about Freud, though, specifically.
Yeah.
I could probably read
The
10.
Neumann,
I could probably read 10
Listen, there
pages
were
of
times-
Dostoevsky, maybe.
There are times I read less than a page in an hour with Neumann.
Yeah. And there's
There are
times I read
times I
like
read less
45
than that,
pages
that's for
of Dostoevsky in a quick minute.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what I'm saying.
those
He
are
can
different
fly. He
things,
can
yeah.
like fly.
Those are different.
So there's times where you literally
Not stopping.
won't be well if
There's
you
no
don't
stops.
finish
Yeah,
reading
yeah,
the
yeah.
Dostoevsky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, can I get that?
Yeah. It's in my trunk or my
Beautiful.
back seat. You can borrow that. I taped it up and fixed it. Remember? That's the first book repair I ever did, and it's a
I've lost
large
3
success.
pages.
These books
I
from
lost 3 pages of this book.
these books from Barnes
I
and
didn't
Noble.
lose them. I have in my
It's
room,
respectable
but
that they sold it for $5, but they are literally probably the worst
Oh,
binding of all time. This one's fine.
this was the same. This was the same publisher or series that my copy of War and Peace is in,
Mm-hmm.
and that book is beat to hell.
Yeah, they fall apart. You can see
That was that book, the War and Peace book. I literally, my hand would cramp from trying to hold it. It was so thick.
Yeah.
It's like literally over. It's like 1,200 pages or something. Just fucking like that was silly.
They call the sensation of when you're, well, him and the dream psychologists call the sensation when you're like about to fall asleep and feel like you're falling or get shocked by something or whatever, stung by a bee and wake up, but then are still asleep and you like open your eyes and you can still be dreaming and you fall back asleep and you're still dreaming.
Yeah.
All that stuff. They call it hypnagogic. Like
Yeah.
hypnosis goggles, basically. I think of it like hypnagogic. I don't know what the suffix "gog" means. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
G-O-G-I.
I feel that.
God. But that's what I assume it means. Hypnotized glasses.
Look that up. What is root God?
The word is hypnagogic.
Yeah.
I love etymology.
I have a recurring dream of falling down the basement stairs of my first house, and waking up, but I would just keep falling until I woke up, basically, down the staircase. That was fun. What?
I guess I could just look
Go
up.
up.
I could just hold on. I'm just gonna look up. I'm gonna Google hypnagogic.
It's also like pedagogue.
Relating to the state immediately before falling asleep.
What's a pedagogue?
A pedagogue? That's P. That's A.
It might be before.
Or that's A-G-U-E.
I think Gog is something to do with being before. Well, we'll see. Just look up root meaning. Meaning of Gog.
To stir, excite, or eager. Hypnagogue. To excite.
Look up
sleep.
Gog, root.
Meaning?
Yeah.
What is the meaning of God? Biblical names. God. In the book of Ezekiel, Gog is a ruler of the land of Magog. But in the book of Revelations, Gog and Magog are nations under the rule of Satan.
Nice.
So we got excitement, Satan, to stir, which makes sense. Hypno-stir.
Oh.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. The devil's making you dream. I get it. Me, I should say.
Jesus.
Well, I guess to close today,
Jesus.
we can.
I'm thinking of in my time of dying right now.
Oh, jeez.
Speaking of dying, Connor and Habib.
Poor God.
Oh man, that's in a week. I can't wait for that.
Yes, sir. We might be watching that one on camera.
Yeah, take us out. Go to the end when he
Hold on.
died.
We don't have to listen to the whole song.
Jeez. I want to hear him say his dying cough or whatever he says. Alright, no more. Go ahead.
Uno más.
Jimmy and Albert. My time died. I can die easy. Is it still going?
Oh yeah. I just gotta zoom in on something real quick.
The physical graphique. The physical graphique.
Oh my.
If you had to only have one album, it might be that one.
Yeah, right? It might be. It might have to be.
What is it? Take my body. So I can die easy. I can die easy. Oh, Jesus. That's how it's thinking. Jesus, I get down.
What's he say? Nothing. Just says no names.
Look up some lyrics. I really don't know the words to this song. Jesus, won't you make up?
My dying day. Right here.
Jesus, gonna make up.
Up, out, Civier. Is that what he says? Make up my dying bed. What does that mean? I don't think anyone knows what he says.
Let's say how the Civiers are. Nothing. Go back up. Leave it to Robert Plant. Here are all possible meanings, translations of Civier.
This is not a thing.
Come on, Robert. Make up for it. Die easy.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get taken
One that
for
makes
this.
sieves. Yeah, probably.
A siever?
Should we pause it?
So
Fuck it.
fucking die easy.
It's educated. We're making content.
Yeah, this is
from-
educational fucking content.
What's he saying?
A sieve?
Yeah.
A sieve is like a...
This is my favorite one. Alright, let's go to the end. It's an 11-minute song, people. Alright. I think we're almost done, yeah? Any last thoughts?
Oh, sorry. Any last thoughts on the podcast? Or the song in specific?
I think, are we done? Are we almost done with the podcast? And this is, are we playing out right now?
Okay.
Yes or no? You can keep going. That's what I was thinking, this is it.
This is fun.
Alright, Call. That's the one, isn't it? That's the one.
Have a nice night, everybody.
Thank you very much.